Good morning, guys. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome to my Scala programming language lessons. My name is Hasan Zeki Alp. Let me introduce myself shortly. I'm a retired engineer. I strive to transfer my experience and knowledge in my available times. Within this frame, I decided to prepare a Scala lessons bunch. So far I have prepared, I have shooted and broadcasted for Scala lessons, and today, this time, I will present you Scala lesson 5. For presenting these lessons, I prefer to use Eclipse integrated development environment. So far so good, and let's start our lesson 5 without wasting any time. Okay, I'd like to describe your closures, Scala closures in this code snippet. In order to use any Scala snippet, we have to define a package name, and we have to define object name, and there must be a coincidence with a package name that you save your Scala file, and also object name must be the same with the file name. This is a must for Scala program, and in this example I define two variables. Okay, one is factor 3 and one is multiplier. So just I'd like to multiply the index I with factor 3. So this is accomplished, this is performed within the frame of closures structure, and in my main function I define two methods. One method is this print line, and it's gonna accept this string, and the other is this another print line method. So it's gonna accept multiplier with argument 2, and this is the title to be printed before the value, multiplier first value equals to blah 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 blah, like this. And each time when we recall this method, each time multiplier will be recalled with these parameters, parameter 1 and parameter 2, and this is the structure to be calculated as the factor, and just when we run this one, at first it's gonna multiply by 3, and the other time it's gonna be multiplied by it's gonna be multiplied by 1. Okay, the next time it's gonna be multiplied by 2, so as to get the result of 6. And let me introduce another example. This time I'd like to show you an example for strings. In my main function I recall a method print line, and this method will be using an argument greeting. So we have to talk about what the greeting is. In fact, greeting is a variable so as to be assigned as a string, of course, yes, and this string equals to hello world. And just by mentioning this, I will run this example. hello world. Just I would like to mention one more time. This print line method is recalled. Okay, and this argument, this parameter greeting, in fact, is a name of a variable, val variable. Since it's a string, this string will be printed out as a result of performing this line, interpreting this line. And how about the other snippet? This time I define a palindrome variable. Of course, it's a string, and as you know, palindrome means the word that will be the same when you read from the beginning to the end. And from end to beginning, all this reading will be the same. In this case, that word is called as palindrome. And by giving this short description, our palindrome variable is dot so I was taught. And I would like to define another variable, var length, palindrome dot length. And I'd like to calculate, I'd like to find out the length of this palindrome string, in fact. And just focus on here, please. When we use dot and length, this is the method to be performed together with this string, in fact. After this assessment, evaluation, length of palindrome will be assigned as a value for variable length. And after that, I define, I recall one method once again, print line method, and this is to be printed out. And by using concatenation, I would like to print out together this one and length, this variable. And just I'd like to show you the result. String length is 17. So 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, string length is calculated by means of this line, and it's printed by means of this method. Let me show you another example. Probably we have liked palindrome so much, so this is another example with palindrome. I define two variables, two string variables. One is to be a dot, so I was, space, and the other is taught. And when I recall this method, print line method, when I print dot at the first place, and after concatenating string first and string second, how come the output will look like? Just I'd like to show you this. Dot, so I was taught. And just by deleting this one, just dot so I was taught will be printed out. Just I would like to show you the difference of inserting any text before this palindrome string looked like. That was I used this one. How about our next snippet? In this example, I would like to show you how to create format strings, and within this purpose, I define three variables. Float variable, so as to be non-integer, floating one, and integer variable 2000, and another string variable, hello Scala, and let me elongate along a little bit, okay, and here I define another variable here, actually it's an object of print method. Just I can translate this like this, an object of print f method. And how about the parameters, or how about the arguments? The arguments will be like this. The value of float variable is plus this format, okay, while the value of integer is d, and the string is s. Float var, integer var, string var. So far, this is the title or text part, and this is the numerical or data part. And after that, after I define this object, I recall my method, println method, with this argument corresponding to this object, okay, fs. And can you guess how it will look like at the end of this print line? Okay, just yes. Okay, the value of the float variable is this one. Just I'd like to take your attention here. Please focus on here. Look, this number. This number is a floating number, in fact, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 8 digits. It includes 8 digits. Okay, and while the value of the integer value is 2000. Okay. This time this is d, very presented as d. Okay, decimal. Digital, sorry, and the string is hello Scala. This is the last variable, string variable, will be printed as a result of recalling this print line method with this fs argument. Let me show you another code snippet. In this code snippet, I intended to show you how to use string interpolator. String interpolators is somehow useful in Scala. Just we can manipulate with variables by means of string interpolator, and within a text we can recall numeric values by means of interpolators. After this paraphrasing, I would like to show you our assignment. Name value, value name is assigned as string James, and our print line method will accept 2 parameters, okay, and another print line method will accept only single one parameter, and this parameter will be like this, and when we run this code, when the execution time is turned to here, this line, hello $ name will be printed, and let me show you the result. It's much better to paraphrase. Okay, hello name, hello James is printed, and after that this string formatter indicator will run, and 1 + 1 equals will be printed, and just within the quotation marks, just look here, okay, within the quotation marks we both use string style and numeric style, and by curly brackets, by means of curly brackets and dollar sign, we concatenate this format, in fact, you guys, and as a result, by means of this S, I have to mention once again, S stands for string interpolator or string formatter. 1 plus 1 equals will be printed out, okay, and after that the calculation of this is performed inside the computer and will be printed out as a sum of these two numbers. And here there is another string S interpolator. Here I simply recall print line method, and I'd like to print out or write out result is A and B. A and B must be defined somewhere else. Just it's an indicative purposes, and by using this backslash n and backslash another n, this string will be printed out as a row of manner, row format. Just I can translate like this, row format. And by means of these backslashes, it's gonna skip one line, and by means of another one, and another one. So instead of using only one print line method, this printing mechanism will be performed for 3 times. Once for this one, and backspace, and it skips one line, and this one the second time, and by means of this skipping this one the third time. Just we could prefer to print out in a single line. Let's assume that A and B is a character, and will be printed out like this. Let me save this beforehand. It's going to be printed out in a single line. Result equals A, B. Just by mentioning its value as an integer or floating or string, A and B specific values will be printed out. And what's the next snippet for today? Here I gave another example for interpolator, this time not formatted or as. This is a row interpolator. This time when we mention row, nothing is to be performed as of skipping line or not. Will be printed out in a single line this time, okay? And when we run this one, okay, like this. Just I can paraphrase the function of this row. Row means, in fact, what you see is what you write, what you print out. As a result of this criteria, this text or this string will be printed out as a result of this print line method. Okay, this was the end of Scala lesson 5, you guys. Next time, maybe a week, after a week, I will try to prepare, I will try to broadcast another Scala lesson. By the way, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, and please have a look to my playlist. I have also prepared Kotlin lessons and Python lessons, and of course for some of them I prepared Turkish versions, and I also give some hints for Python programmers. And that's it for today. Thank you for your watching me, you guys. Please keep in peace, and bye bye. Have a nice day.